Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. It is an overcast Saturday afternoon here at Three Rivers Stadium. Temperature was supposed to be about 55, but I don't think it got out of the 40s. And a lot of blankets here at Three Rivers Stadium. There's Jim Moore, the Stars head coach. And Jim, of course, brings a team in here that co-leads the Atlantic Division along with the New Jersey Generals. And there is Joe Pendry, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Maulers. Joe, no stranger to the Philadelphia staff. He was the offensive coordinator a year ago under Jim Moore with Philadelphia Stars. The Stars are going to open up with the football. Tony Lee will be putting it into play for Pittsburgh. And Mark McCants out of Temple, the leading kickoff returner. And we're underway from Three Rivers Stadium. McCants out over the 25. He's open at the 35, 40. And Tony Lee has a shot at him as McCants gets into Pittsburgh territory across midfield. So Mark McCants puts it in play for Philadelphia. And we will look now at the Stars offense. Quarterback Chuck Bucina. With him will be Kelvin Bryant and Booker Russell. Steve Folsom, the Stars' leading pass receiver, is the tight end. Willie Collier and Scott Fitzke. Up front, McLaren, Gilbert Oates, Chuck Comiskey, and Big Irv Eatman on that right side. 1st and 10, Philadelphia at the 46-yard line of the Pittsburgh Maulers. And Bucina's going to put it up on first down. Swings it out, Kelvin Bryant. And Bryant cracks over the 40-yard line and gets down to about the 38. Kelvin Bryant taking that swing pass. Kelvin, of course, very versatile. Defensively for Pittsburgh up front, Clancy, Graham, Dombrowski, and Holly. With Crosby, Bruce Huther, and Mike McKibben, the linebackers. Secondary has Yancey and Holmes on the corners, Delaney and Langlois on the safeties. 2nd and 4 Stars as they operate out of the I formation. With Booker Russell and Kelvin Bryant. This is Kelvin Bryant, and Kelvin over that right side, very close to first down yardage. Looks like he may have gotten it. Has to get to about the 36.
Of course, the Stars with Booker Russell, they're leading the way, got the good explosion off the line of scrimmage, close to the first down, and Booker Russell does a great job of blocking for Kelvin Bryant, who has 404 yards already on the year coming into this game. Now here's Kelvin working behind. He's the back man in the two-back offense there. Goes behind the Booker Russell block. You see good line blocking up front from that big line with Eatman, McLaren, Bart Oates, and a very good big pickup there, right close to the first down yardage. They're going to bring the chains out and take a look as we look at Kelvin Bryant right there.
What a difference Chuck Bucina's had, Don, too, in terms of his maturation process. I think that's the biggest difference from Chuck Bucina, the fact that he had that year under his belt. Stars are going to come up a little short. 3rd and short situation, but getting back to Bucina, I think the fact that he had that 1 year under his belt after having hardly played at all with Tampa Bay in 4 years in the NFL and coming over last year, a little tentative, but certainly no longer is he a tentative quarterback with Philadelphia this year. 3rd down, short yardage. Coming out wide to the left side for Philadelphia's Herbert Harris. First look at Herbert this afternoon. 2 tight ends in there, and this is Booker Russell, and Booker trying to get to that 35-yard line, and he's stacked up. And the Maulers think they stopped him right at the line as Sam Clancy and Bruce Huther, of course, the linebacker out of the Dallas Cowboys, made the play.
All right, the Philadelphia Stars are known as a team that runs right. They like to go over Chuck Comiskey and Irv Eatman. You see, they just didn't take the Maulers off the line of scrimmage. Good penetration by that defensive line over there for the Maulers. Sam Clancy, the former Seahawk, and they just wrap Booker Russell up.
And the Stars, once again, faced with short yardage, only this time 4th down. Herbert Harris goes wide to the right. Little hesitation, but Bucina on the quarterback draw got the first down. I don't think that was designed that way, Don, but Chuck had a little problem coming out of the snap with Bart Oates.
Whether or not it was designed, the great thing about Chuck Bucina, and you alluded to it a moment ago, he has tremendous poise. As we see Joe Pendry, who used to call the plays for Chuck Bucina a year ago on the Stars staff, Chuck does not panic. So whether or not that was a delay by design or a broken play, Chuck is always a calm, cool, collected quarterback.
Scott Fitzke goes wide to the right for the Stars. Willie Collier is split out to the left. Jerry Holmes right in his face on that right corner. This is Kelvin Bryant, and Kelvin goes over left guard, and his forward progress is going to be marked about the 32. That's where David Graham and Sam Clancy team to make the stop for the Pittsburgh Maulers. pickup for Kelvin Bryant on the play of about 3. Second down, 7 now for Philadelphia. We're going to get a look at Alan Harvin checking into that Stars backfield. We're going to see a lot of Kelvin Bryant and Alan Harvin teamed up together. So Alan Harvin, second year out of Cincinnati, in the tandem backfield with Kelvin Bryant. Fitzke is wide left. On 2nd and 7, Fusina to put it up over the middle. And coming out to make the catch as a flag goes down. Alan Harvin gets it inside the 30 down to the 28. That's where he was wrapped up by Ron Crosby. And the penalty flag is going to be against the Stars. Indication there of holding from referee Tom White. And the Maulers are going to take it. And the Stars will be faced with their first penalty. That's another thing that Jim Moore doesn't want to get involved in a lot of penalty situations today. Tommy White with the call.
Holding, 63 offense, second down.
One of the nice things about seeing Alan Harvin, even though the play was called back, that when you have both Bryant and Harvin in the backfield, you have two guys who are very quick in the open field. And in terms of pass receiving, it opens it way up, makes it very difficult for the defense to key on anybody, because you got 5 guys then who can catch the ball and run with it.
Tommy Donovan comes out to the left side. Fitzke and Collier at the top of the screen. This is Alan Harvin sweeping to the left. Now he turns it back. But he's not going to get to the line of scrimmage as Ron Crosby made the defensive play for the Pittsburgh Maulers. So Alvin tried to go backwards and against the grain, but Crosby was there.
We're going to take a look at this on the replay. Alan Harvin comes to his left, and as we look at it from the end zone camera, he's going to try to reverse his field. The key to this is that the Pittsburgh Maulers defense pursues very well. When he stops, pivots, and goes back right, they're right there. You see Crosby, the former Penn Stater and New York Jet player, coming and making the tackle. Chuck Fusina thought about laying a block, but I think at that point, 1-on-5, he's better saving his body. Jim Moore, I'm sure, would agree.
3rd and 16 Stars from just over the 40-yard line. After that good return to open it up, Stars have been stymied. As you've seen on 3rd and long, looks long. He's looking for Willie Collier, and he can't hold on down at the 15-yard line. Incomplete, out of bounds. And the Stars come up short with the incompletion to Willie Collier. As free agent David Landloy out of Southern California was defending for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Our first look at Sean Landetta after a poor game for him in the opener. Sean has gotten his average up to second best in the conference, a little over 41 yards. And back deep there is Sean Potts to return it for the Maulers. Landetta, an expert at dropping them inside the 20. No rush. Angles it to the near side. Mike Lush is down there, but it's in the end zone. And it's going to be brought out to the 20-yard line.
So right now we have 10:38 to go in the first period here at Three Rivers Stadium. And we have a flag down on the field there as the Stars were stymied in their first possession of the afternoon. The Maulers were going to get the ball, but depending on what the flag is, that may change. One of the things that I liked, even though Willie Collier did not make the reception, Harry, on the play previous to the punt, is the pattern there with the 2 wideouts on this side. As we see the indication it's against the Maulers in the legal block, that means they will retain possession, but they'll be taken back a ways deeper in their own territory. Collier was in the slot inside the other wideout, ran a nice out pattern, and almost made the catch. Here's the call on the penalty from referee Tommy White.
Illegal block above the waist, in the back, on the offense, first down.
So when we would return, Pittsburgh Maulers will have their first shot on offense starting from their own 10-yard line. As we look at Jim Moore and Joe Pendry, we are scoreless in the first quarter.
Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Harry Donahue along with Don Tollefson as we look at the Maulers offense. Glenn Carano, of course, the quarterback. Amos Lawrence and Mike Rozier with him in the backfield. And Rao, Potts, and Anderson, the receivers. Maggs, Corbin, Correal, the center out of Penn State. Lukens and Fields on the right side. 1st and 10 Maulers from the 10-yard line. As Carano, play action, looking to his right, throwing, and Jackie Flowers comes up with the catch out at the 22-yard line. For the Maulers, it'll be a first down for Pittsburgh.
Okay, let's take a look at Jackie Flowers on the play. He is a guy the Pittsburgh Maulers just picked up, and he is a good receiver. Very surprising that the Chicago Blitz this year would give him up, because last year when they were in Arizona, he made this kind of a play a lot as he turns the defensive back by coming back. Garcia Lane playing a little bit soft, a big catch for a guy who last year had a 98-yard pass reception when he was one of the Arizona Wranglers.
So first down and 10 again as Carano strikes with his first pass of the day to Jackie Flowers. Backs are split, and Carano on the quick toss. Coming out here is Rozier to the right side, looks for some blocks at the 25, and is brought down by Sam Mills. As we will set the Stars defense across the front, William Fuller, the rookie, Dave Ofer out of Penn State, and Donnie Fielder is the right end. Linebacker core, George Cooper, Sam Mills, Glenn Howard, and the veteran John Bunning. And then in the secondary, Sutton and Garcia Lane are the cornerbacks, with Antonio Gibson and Mike Lush, the other two back there. Second and 6, Maulers from their own 27. Rozier and Amos Lawrence in that backfield behind Glenn Carano. Motion to the left side. This is famous Amos Lawrence, and he spins his way over the 30 and gets out close to the first down yardage at the 28-yard line.
They had said that Amos Lawrence, when the 49ers let him go, was just too slow. He'd had too many knee injuries, but look at how quickly Amos Lawrence gets to this hole. Clearly his knees are much improved. He's been working on the weights, trying to re-strengthen those legs, and at least on that run, the former North Carolina running back looked very healthy and very quick. He, of course, from the same school as Kelvin Bryant, and you got to believe there'll be a rivalry between the two of them here today.
A lot of competition when they were back in Tar Heel country as well. Rozier and Joel Coles now. Joel was cut by the Stars in training camp. He's out of Penn State. And on play action, Carano looking on first down to put it up long as he's throwing for Glenn Anderson, and John Sutton has him covered down at the 15-yard line of Philadelphia. John Sutton running with Glenn Anderson, who is Greg Anderson, the leading receiver for the Pittsburgh Maulers, and Carano was airing it out that time on first down. So it'll bring it back to the 34-yard line. Second down and 10. 8:23 left to go first quarter. No score. Stars got off to a good start with Mark McCantz's kickoff return, and then couldn't get anything going their first series. Second down and 10. As Carano was testing that top-ranked pass defense of Philadelphia. 3 wideouts are in there. Sean Potts, Jackie Flowers, and Greg Anderson. Flowers is to the right. The other two are to the left. And on second and 10, this is Amos Lawrence spinning again this time, though. He manages only a couple of yards over that left side. Coming up, George Cooper, the right outside linebacker for the Stars, to make the stop.
With Pete Kugler injured today, he has a knee problem that will force him to miss the game. One of the worries the Stars had was, will we jam the run? Jim Mora was concerned because Kugler is the best guy in their defensive line and just causing problems up front. Of course, Jim Mora had a connection to the coach of the Oakland Invaders, who was just fired a couple of weeks ago, John Ralston. And of course, he was at UCLA with Dick Vermeil as well.
Miller and Coles now are the running backs behind Glenn Carano on 3rd and 8. And Carano's going to put it up, looking to his left out of the backfield. Miller, but he's going to come up short at the 40-yard line. Wrapping him up there was Sam Mills, Mr. Defense for the Stars. They're all-league tackle from a year ago. And Pittsburgh will have to turn it over by way of Larry Swider's punt. And Garcia Lane, there's Swider's statistics so far. Larry out of the University of Pittsburgh. Played with about 3 teams in the NFL. And Garcia Lane, who's getting better and better every game, back to return it for the Stars. After the rush, Swider gets it off and drills one back to the 6. This is Garcia Lane returning up the middle to the 20-yard line, and he's stopped by Joel Coles. So the Stars get it again here in the second quarter. We have a break here with 7:15 left to go and no score in Pittsburgh.
Don Tollefson and Harry Donahue back at Three Rivers Stadium. Channel 6 sports exclusive coverage of the Stars versus the Pittsburgh Maulers. Stars starting this drive from their own 19.
And they'll start it with Booker Russell and Kelvin Bryant split behind quarterback Chuck Fusino on first down and 10. And Fusino to the right side. There goes Kelvin Bryant, and Kelvin gets out over the 25. Finally brought down by Bruce Huther, the middle linebacker, and Jeff Delaney. Delaney scored a big touchdown last week. Well, the Maulers in that first win. He sealed it with a 50-yard touchdown off an interception. There's the statistics on Kelvin Bryant from a week ago. Kelvin, of course, that's his second best day as a pro in terms of rushing, taking over the leadership in the league in that department. 2nd and 3 for Philadelphia after Kelvin picked up 7 on first down. Out of the eye, Bucina with play action, looking long down the middle, and it is caught. Willie Collier is wrapped up and down after he got the first down out over the 40-yard line. David Langlois making the tackle on the catch by Willie Collier.
One of the things you love if you're a quarterback is that second down and short. You see the good play action there, try to freeze the defense a little bit. Watch Chuck Bucina. He looks around to pick out the receiver who's got an opening. That is Willie Collier. Willie up in the air, makes the catch. Most importantly, tucks the ball away. Good reception, good game.
I'll tell you, there's nobody better than Willie, too, doing that across the middle. 1st and 10 Stars out of their own 43. And Bucina again looks to put it up. Has Folsom out at the 48. And the tight end is wrapped up on the sideline by Jeff Delaney and Ron Crosby. But Steve Folsom, who's getting to be more and more a part of the Stars offense this year, going into this game today, he had 18 catches. And we have an injured Mauler. It looks like it's Jeff Delaney.
Jeff Delaney is playing with a broken bone in one of his hands. Last week he had that big interception you mentioned in the Maulers' first ever win over the Washington Federals, despite having that broken bone. Perhaps he has re-injured himself there. In their first drive, 10 plays for the Stars, evenly divided, 5 runs and 5 passes. We'll be back with 5:40 to go. We're still scoreless in the first quarter.
Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium, where Jeff Delaney, who was just injured on that last play, is being tended to on the sideline. Stars have it down. 2nd down and 3 at midfield. As Bucina, who's 3 of 4 so far throwing, hits again. This time Tommy Donovan's got it for the first down, and he's thrown out of bounds inside the 35 at the 33 by Bill Yancey. But Tom Donovan, another Penn State guy, coming up with that catch from Chuck Bucina on the sidelines.
It is very doubtful that there is a smarter core of receivers than the Stars have anywhere in the USFL. A great stop pattern there by Donovan. Comes back and gets the ball and then puts his head down, tries to get the extra yardage, makes sure that Yancey feels him as much as he feels Yancey, and then he's thrown down out of bounds. I'm sure Jim Moore thought there might have been a flag, but in any case, a big gain for Tommy Donovan.
All right, 1st down and 10 now from the 33-yard line. And Alan Harvin sweeps it out to the right side, gets a block, moves it inside, and gets inside the 30, down to about the 27 before Crosby and Huther, their linebackers for Maulers, could make the stop.
They say when you're a good running back, one of the sure signs is the way you keep those legs pumping, and even when it's jammed at the initial point of contact, you're looking for a place to go. Now watch Alan Harvin. He doesn't quit on himself. He gets around Clancy. We saw him, then turns it upfield, and those legs are really pumping. Good second effort by the young man from Willingboro, New Jersey.
Picked up 6, 2nd and 4 from the 27. Quick toss, Kelvin Bryant, left side. And Kelvin gets inside the 25 before Langlois and Sam Clancy could make the stop. Big Sam Clancy, who was the leading rebounder and still is the leading rebounder in career for the University of Pittsburgh's basketball team.
Okay, we're going to take a look at Kelvin Bryant. Here's one of the things he does on the quick pitch. He leans upfield. You can see him right there with the great balance. Boy, you like the leg drive. You also like the balance. And the one thing about Kelvin Bryant, he is tough, not afraid to take a hit. He'll stick it in there.
3rd down, they need 2 at the 24-yard line. Just over 4 minutes left to go, first quarter. Kelvin tries to spin his way, and he's going to come up short by a yard and a half. Clancy again in on the stop. Well, the Maulers, Big Sam is 6'7" and 260. Played with the Seahawks last season and made the stop that time on Bryant.
Well, you have to be impressed with Sam Clancy, the young gentleman you're talking about there. He fights off the block, ties up Kelvin Bryant short of the first down. Now, Sam Clancy with the Seahawks was a designated pass rusher. The Maulers said they were concerned, will he play the run well? Well, folks, whatever concern they once had has disappeared here today. He is a good rush defender.
This is David Trout to attempt it from 42 yards out. Timmy Reardon, holding for the first time this season, will put it down. Trout's kick is good, and the Stars have taken a lead with 3:15 left to go, first quarter. There it is, Philadelphia leading 3-0.
Don Tallis and Harry Donahue back at Three Rivers, where the Stars have gone up 3-0 on the Maulers with 3:15 to go in the first period. Here's a look at the leading passers in the Eastern Conference of the United States Football League. Chuck Fusina, number 2 right there, but you can see a lot of guys played in the NFL. Johnny Walton, Matt Robinson, Cliff Stout, Glenn Carano, more and more NFL quarterbacks coming over to this league.
Here's David Trout after he just kicked a 42-yard field goal, his longest of the season. And William Miller is standing deep to return, but it's not going to get to Miller. Instead, that's Larry Friday. And he's going to be pushed back after he just gets across the 20-yard line. Coming up was Garcia Lane, 47, to make the stop. There's that Stars drive. 8 plays and 55 yards. And Trout finished it off with the 42-yard field goal. For David, that is his 3rd field goal in 8 tries and his longest of the season at 42 yards.
One of the things Jim Moore wanted today was to put points on the board in the first half. So far this year, the Stars have scored only 17 first-half points as opposed to 59 second-half points. He wants offense in the first half today as we look at Glenn Carano's statistics so far this year.
And the lone running back is Mike Rozier. Out of the backfield goes Rozier, and a quick toss for Carano to a tight end, Mike Shaw, who's also been hampered by a hand injury. Glenn Howard made the stop for Philadelphia. Glenn out of Camden and the University of Minnesota. And they picked up on the play about 7, 2nd and 3.
We see Mike Shaw, who made the reception, coming off the field. He's a local kid from our area, from Delran, New Jersey's Holy Cross High School. Lots of good football players come out of South Jersey programs.
Joel Coles is back in there, along with Rozier. 2nd down and short yardage as Flowers goes in motion. Rozier behind Coles, but he's stacked up at the line of scrimmage. He may have lost a yard because William Fuller fought off Joel Coles and was able to drop Mike Rozier. Nice play by one All-American against another. As Rozier signing, of course, with the Stars. A lot to do with that, of course, was a fellow by the name of Kelvin Bryant, who talked to William Fuller about coming over to the USFL.
One of the most amazing stats about the Stars defense, no runner in USFL history has ever gained 100 yards in a game against them, including the likes of Herschel Walker. Big 3rd down play for the Maulers right here.
Miller and Coles are the backs. Rozier is not in there, and Carano's going to put it up. Big rush. That's Donnie Fielder who wraps him up along with George Cooper. And the Stars on the 3rd down play come up with the first sack of the afternoon. Fielder and Cooper making the stop.
One of the things they say about Donnie Fielder, he is a wild man, and he's not only wild in terms of his temperament playing defense, but he's very, very quick. He can come after you in a flash, and on this play, a couple of guys in there wrapping up people as both the linebackers and the line involved.
Larry Swider stands at his goal line. Gets it off after the low snap. Not especially long. Lane should get a return from the Pittsburgh 48 and is able to get 5 as a flag goes down. Garcia Lane returned it about 5 yards inside the 45 before Mark Rowell, a tight end out of West Virginia, could make the stop. So the Stars will have it once again with just over a minute left to go in the first quarter, and the Stars leading 3-0 on Trout's 42-yard field goal.
Signal there is an illegal block on probably Ira Albright was the victim of that illegal block. He's very interesting when you consider the fact that he is their leading special teams guy coming down and covering the punt. That despite the fact he's 5'10", 260, a defensive lineman who's really the wild man, the headhunter on their punt coverage team.
Well, some problems picking up Tommy White. But the penalty is assessed against Philadelphia on that kickoff return. So the Stars tied with New Jersey for the lead after the first 4 games. And Pittsburgh, after that win over Washington, keeping the Federals still looking for their first win in '84. First down and 10, Philadelphia from the Stars 39. And Fusina gives it to Bryant around the right side, and he breaks it open as he crosses the 42 and gets out across the 45-yard line. And Kelvin showing why he just does not give up. The second effort again of number 44.
We're going to take a look at it again. I have never seen Kelvin Bryant as many great days as he has had, as animated as he is today. He has great energy when he is running the football. We were with him in the hotel last night, and I think he was extra excited to be playing against his old teammate Amos Lawrence. He wants to show who's the best North Carolina back ever.
Kelvin picked up 8. 2nd and 2 Stars from their 47. And this is Kelvin again, right side, but he's not going to get there. Driven back by Ron Crosby and Mike McKibben, a couple linebackers. Pittsburgh using that 4-3 defense. And the 2 outside backers, Crosby and McKibben, were able to bring down Kelvin on the day now. Bryant, 7 carries for 20 yards. A little below his average. He goes into the game with a little bit more than 4 yards per carry. 404 yards through the first 4 games. 3 wideouts come into the Stars offense, Donovan and Fitzke. And also in there for Philadelphia is Willie Collier. And that's going to wrap up the first quarter. With the score, the Philadelphia Stars leading the Pittsburgh Maulers here in Pittsburgh 3-0. 3rd down and 4 for the Stars to begin the second quarter from their own 45. Harvin and Kelvin Bryant behind Fusina. And Chuck over the middle. Willie Collier's got it, and he's got the first down, I believe, because he leaned backwards after making the catch. Has to get just over the 49. All-important spot by the official. Larry Friday made the stop. Friday's in there as the nickel back for Pittsburgh.
They always say when you're a good receiver, you know where the first down marker is. Chuck Fusina gets it off to Willie Collier, and Willie's not a very big man, but he slides under, stretches out, and then you always try to put the ball as far forward as possible and hope for what they always call the referee's left foot measurement.
You know, one of the big people back there in that secondary, as we look at them stretch out the chains, as the Stars do get the first down. Thanks to Willie Collier. There's Willie's stats for 84. Willie played here at the University of Pittsburgh. As we take a look at Tommy Donovan against Jerry Holmes. That's the man we were just going to talk about.
Jerry Holmes, the former New York Jet, one of the big early signings by the Pittsburgh Maulers. They say he is a glue defensive back. In other words, he plays that old man-for-man bump and run right up on you.
First down and 10 Stars from their own 49. Fusina looking long for Fitzke. He's beat his man, and he's got it at the 10, and he's down at the 5. Goes Scott Fitzke, and Bill Yancey saved the touchdown as Fitzke faked the post pattern and ran it up the field and got the big reception on the pass from Fusina.
Boy, I'm so impressed on this play with what Scott Fitzke does. He had a couple of steps on Yancey. Now, Chuck throws the ball a little bit under Scott Fitzke, but Fitzke looks the ball into his hands and takes advantage of the fact that Yancey is not looking for the ball, and you see it came right over Yancey's left arm. Perhaps if he had just glanced for a split second, he could have knocked it down, but Fitzke got the better of him. Big gain. 1st and goal, right about the 5.5-yard line.
Pickup on the play about 44 yards as the Stars have it 1st and goal. This is Kelvin Bryant territory. Kelvin sweeping to the right. Let's see if he turns the corner as he is driven out of about the 4-yard line. Coming up to force the play was Bruce Huther. Jeff Delaney back in there also making the play on Kelvin Bryant along with the right tackle Ken Dombrowski.
They say that the great players, be they running backs or guys at any position, do the little things so well. Watch this little thing. When Bryant has turned the corner, you'll see number 57, the former Cowboy, Bruce Huther. He thinks he can force him out of bounds. He steps back inside of Huther. Huther gave him that little bit of room, and that's an extra 2 yards. Smart move by KB.
All right, they spotted at the 3. 2nd and goal from there. As in motion goes Jeff Rodenberger. Rolling after the fake is Fusina into the end zone. Rodenberger was open, but right past him goes the football. Jeff Rodenberger went in motion from the wing on the right side, and he was open, but Chuck just drilled it right past him. And it comes back to the 3-yard line.
All right, in that first quarter, you see that the Stars outgained the Maulers on the ground and in the air, 30-13 rushing, 47-25 passing. But adds up when you have the total yardage there. When you throw in the return yardage, Pittsburgh had 80-77. But of course, it only counts in the score department where the Stars are up 3-0. Should be up by more.
On 3rd down, Fusina looks for the corner and Collier, and it's incomplete. Willie Collier with coverage over there by Larry Friday, and Willie had him beat, but Chuck couldn't drop it in. Langlois was applying some pressure to Chuck Fusina.
As we await the field goal attempt, we're going to take a look at the play right here. It is a timing pattern. Chuck Fusina is going to throw the ball at a certain point, and Willie Collier, if he's about an inch taller, he has that one, but he made a great effort with the one hand, almost pulled it in. But here's David Trout with a chip shot, should make it 6-0.
From the 21 out of Timmy Reardon's hole, David Trout, his second three-point attempt of the day. And the kick is good. So, with 13:20 left in the first half, the Stars leading the Maulers 6-0.
Don Thomas and Harry Donahue, a Channel 6 Sports exclusive, live from Three Rivers Stadium. Stars up 6-0. There's Kelvin Bryant, who played a role in the drives that led to those two field goals. He is the leading rusher in the Eastern Conference of the United States Football League, ahead of the likes of Cribbs, Walker, Anderson, Carthon, and Mike Rozier. Right now, David Trout getting ready to kick off for the Stars.
David Trout, the difference in this game so far. William Miller back to take this line drive. Trout kickoff on one hop from the goal line. It's William Miller. Angles toward that right sideline and gets some ground out there before he's finally tripped up by Garcia Lane. So the Stars holding William Miller short of the 20-yard line. They'll put it in play from the 19.
Okay, that last scoring drive for the second field goal, 7 plays, covering 58 yards in 2 minutes and 59 seconds. Really good balance so far by the Philadelphia Stars as they are mixing it up. Good runs, good passes. They'd like to get 6 of those. We look at Joe Pendry, the Pittsburgh Maulers head coach. Garcia Lane really racing down there, though, on that kick coverage team to make the stop.
First down and 10, Pittsburgh. Rozier and Joel Coles will be in the backfield out of the I formation as they now split. He's got 2 wide receivers to the left side, and Carano on the long count on first down, looking to put it up, looking to the left, and that is Anderson coming up with the catch. Greg Anderson makes it out near the 29-yard line. Jonathan Sutton was covering for the Stars, the right cornerback for Philadelphia.
One of the things about Anderson is that he gets great yardage out of most of his catches. He's a big catch guy. Here he runs a good pattern. The coverage is a little soft again, so he can come back under the coverage. Picks up a big gain. Last year's, they're close to the first down yardage. With the Birmingham Stallions, his average was 18.9 yards per catch. Hard to believe Birmingham let him go, but the Maulers are very happy to have him. There's the measurement for the first down.
So Carano trying to get something going to Anderson, and they do get the first down out just over the 29-yard line. So far this afternoon, Carano is 4 of 5 throwing, 35 yards, and he just added 10 on that completion to Greg Anderson. Jim Mora finally has a lead in a football game early. Stars, of course, have been forced to come from behind in their 3 wins and would like to jump out and put Pittsburgh away early. Out of the I formation. This is Mike Rozier, and Rozier crosses the 30-yard line before Fielder again makes the stop for Philadelphia, tripping him up out over the 30-yard line. Mike Rozier, Heisman winner, Maxwell winner. Just about every award, trophy, whatever that was given out was given the number 30, Mike Rozier. But he's had a slow start, as has happened to a lot of other backs. Last year, of course, everybody got on Herschel Walker early. Kelvin Bryant, though, came out of the blocks pretty quickly. Second down, 9 after Rozier picked up 1 yard on first down. Maulers have it at their own 31. Carano gives the ball again. Rozier slicing his way out to the 35-yard line. So he was able to pick up that time about 5. It'll be third down, short yardage for Pittsburgh.
We had seen some of the Mike Rozier stats as we look at what he did in Nebraska last year, and people here in Pittsburgh said, well, why can't he show that kind of performance here with the Maulers? Well, today is the 5th game the Maulers have ever played, and it's the 5th different offensive line they have used. They've had changes every game. Tough on Rozier.
All right, Rozier, the lone running back on 3rd and 5, and Carano looks to his right, and Jackie Flowers, and Flowers catches it, goes out of bounds at the 48-yard line right in front of Garcia Lane, who was not able unable to stop Jackie Flowers on that sideline route.
Okay, there's Jackie Flowers. Now let's look at the line play, because to get time to throw the ball, you need good blocking, and some of that blocking is going to come from Lukens. He's one of the offensive linemen they really like on that team, and you see him up front in this footage, number 64. That gives Carano time to get the pass off, and he will find Flowers. The kid I mentioned came over from Chicago Blitz, was with the Wranglers in Arizona last year. He is a good one. Lukens, the blocker, out of Moeller in Cincinnati, where he played for Jerry Faust.
First down and 10 for Carano and the Maulers. Play action. Carano looking left, throwing to a tight end round in Stars territory across the 40-yard line, inside the 40 before Antonio Gibson can knock him out of bounds just over or inside that 40-yard line. It's going to be another Pittsburgh first down on the catch by 83 Mark Rao.
I have to believe that so far the Maulers have had at least 5 or 6 different guys catch passes. Great diversity in their offensive passing scheme, and that is really a testimony to the fact that Joe Pendry, having been a Stars assistant last year, has familiarity with the defense. He's working on it a little bit now.
First and 10 Pittsburgh from Philadelphia's 39. This is Rozier starting out to his right, cuts it back as he is wont to do frequently, and was able to get 2 or 3 before Fielder and George Cooper make the stop for the Stars. Both teams now have 5 first downs, and with 10:36 left to go in the first half, Philadelphia holding on to a 6-0 lead on a pair of field goals by David Trout. David, of course, played here at Three Rivers with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and his college ball at the University of Pittsburgh.
As we look at Joe Pendry, you saw just a moment ago, number 88, Sean Potts, one of the wideouts coming in. One of the reasons they have so many wide receivers making catches, they use them as messengers to bring in the plays.
Potts and Anderson to the left, Jackie Flowers to the right. Carano on 2nd and 6 gets a rush, able to get it off, completes it. Anderson inside the 30 and wrapped up there by Sam Mills. George Cooper also defending, but Carano laid it in there between those 2 linebackers, and Anderson makes the catch for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Another Pittsburgh first down.
All right, we're hearing a lot of controversy in football now about what is called the in-the-grasp rule. Is he in the grasp of the defender? The rule was instituted in both the NFL and the USFL to protect the quarterback. I think it was a good non-call because he had his foot for just a split second. Carano stepped up out of the grasp of the player and did a good job getting the ball off for a big completion.
Dave Ofer was the man trying to wrap up Carano. First and 10 for the Maulers at the Stars' 29-yard line, and Carano's going to throw again. Has time, rolls now to his right. That's Ofer coming up, and he dumps it off to Anderson, and he gets inside the 20-yard line. So patience pays off for the Maulers and Glenn Carano, as finally he was able to get it off for the completion. Sam Mills, along with Antonio Gibson, making the stop for Philadelphia.
Good scrambling by Carano here. He doesn't see anybody open, and then number 80, Greg Anderson, who had been in the slot on the left-hand side, had come all the way across. Carano almost tripped up there, but good patience as he waits, isn't intimidated by Ofer, gets the ball to Anderson, but watch number 54, Sam Mills, make the receiver pay. Mills always does.
First down and 10 for Pittsburgh at the 18 of Philadelphia. He's got Anderson this time split wide to the left. Rouse starts in motion, and Carano looking quick screen to Anderson, incomplete, and a penalty flag goes down as Anderson was looking for his 4th reception of the afternoon on the quick speed screen to the near sideline, and the penalty flag is down right in the middle of the field.
Start. Tackle. Replay first down.
Tommy White indicating the penalty against the Maulers, the false start by tight end Mike Shaw of Pittsburgh.
All right, so far we have seen the Carano-led Maulers offense come up with about 9 first downs, 6 of them from the pass, 3 from the run, and that's a very, very good balance. You want to have getting them both routes. You don't want to go exclusively pass or the run. This Maulers drive, very, very impressive.
Amos Lawrence checks back in. A couple tight ends go out, and Shaw and Rao. Wide to the left, Anderson. He's got 2 wide receivers to the right side, and the backs split behind Carano. This is Mike Rozier, and he's going to be wrapped up there at the 22-yard line by William Fuller and Don Fielder, 2 ends up front for Philadelphia. So Rozier and Fuller meet again, and it's going to set up a 3rd down and about 12 situation out at the 21-yard line of the Stars. Stars leading with just under 8 minutes left to go in the first half. It's 6-0 on an overcast Saturday afternoon at Three River Stadium. Second down and 12. And the ball's at the 21. They stay with the 3 wide receivers and the split backs. Rozier wrapped up, and holding on is Mike Lush, the Stars' free safety. Mike Lush out of the Bethlehem Allentown area, played at East Stroudsburg, probably pound for pound one of the hardest hitters for the Stars in that defense. And it's going to be a 3rd and long for the Maulers.
Both Mike Lush and Mark McCants, another defensive back and special teams standout, are from the great Lehigh Valley, where so many good football players came from. Lush from Allentown High School, and of course Mark McCants went to Temple, before that Allentown Deera High School.
Carano looking as Scott Werner comes up, another safety for Philadelphia, faking the blitz. Carano throws over the middle and not able to hold on to it. The wide receiver, Sean Potts. To his credit, the ball was thrown a little bit out of his reach as Garcia Lane was coming up to make the play defensively for Philadelphia. So on the 4th and 12 from the 20-yard line, our first look at the Maulers' field goal kicker. This is Tony Lee. And holding will be the punter, Larry Swider. Ball's going to be spotted at the 27. It'll be a 37-yard attempt for Lee. Plenty of foot in it, and it is good. So from 37 yards out, the field goal is good. We've got a timeout. With the score, Stars 6, Pittsburgh 3.
Don Tollefson, Harry Donahue, Channel 6 Sports exclusive coverage of the Philadelphia Stars against the Pittsburgh Maulers, live from Three River Stadium. A battle of the field goals. Mark McCants getting ready to take the kickoff here from the Pittsburgh Maulers.
And he'll take it from Tony Lee, who just put the Maulers on the board. And Lee boots it short. Coming up, Donovan takes it out of McCants' hands and goes to the middle of the field. And Donovan finally is wrapped up out near the 25-yard line by Ron Freeman, the reserve linebacker from Pittsburgh State. So the Stars will put it in play from their own 25-yard line. That Pittsburgh drive covered 61 yards and 11 plays, with Lee's 37-yard field goal the end product. That was his 5th field goal of the year out of 7 attempts. He was perfect inside the 30 and 1 for 3 outside the 30. So that statistic improves. On first down, Fusina to Bryant behind Irv Eatman around that left side, and Kelvin hurdles his way over the 30-yard line and is finally brought down by Jerry Holmes, who tripped him up as Kelvin left his feet.
We talk a lot about the Stars being a strong right team in terms of the run, but those 2 big guys on the right side, Comiskey and Eatman, can pull with the best of them. They are so big yet so quick. And when you have that kind of beef, there's no beef shortage there, folks. You got Comiskey and Eatman out in front. Kelvin Bryant is able to see that those defenders are being wrapped up. Nice play with both a pulling guard and a tackle.
Second down after Kelvin's 7-yard pickup. A light rain now falling here at Three Rivers. Fusina goes back to Kelvin Bryant, angling again left side, breaks the tackle and gets the first down. Still on his feet out over the 45 is Kelvin Bryant, and Sam Clancy had to trail him and nail him out at the 45-yard line as Kelvin Bryant again with the second effort picks up a Philly first down.
Okay, while one of the Maulers is being attended to down on the ground, we're going to take a look at Kelvin Bryant from ground level. And one of the things you see when he is at that vantage point is that he is just so tough to bring down. You see him over on the sidelines there. He's being attended to. I don't think it's an injury, simply an equipment problem. But there's one of the Maulers down. We'll be back with more from Three River Stadium with the Stars leading the Maulers 6-3. You are looking at Maulers defensive back Jeff Delaney, the former Los Angeles Ram. He's on the ground once again. He has that broken bone in his hand. We've showed it to you before, heavily taped, and he is down once again. All right, here's the previous play. Watch Kelvin Bryant's deceptive ability. Stopping and starting. Here he goes, there he goes. He can cut back and forth so quickly, and he has such deceptive speed and quickness as well. He's very tough to tackle, because if you go for his legs, he'll step out of it. If you go high, he'll go under you. He is just just an all-around, well-balanced running back.
You know, too, Don, Kelvin coming off a battle with the flu. He lost some weight. He dropped about 6 or 7 pounds, went under 190 pounds, and there was some concern on the part of Jim Mora whether or not Kelvin's health was going to be okay, but he seems to be running all right this afternoon.
Jeff Delaney is up, and you can see the extremely heavy padding on the broken bone there in his right hand. And this team, the Pittsburgh Maulers, has really been beset with broken hands. 3 offensive linemen at some point this season have had broken hands. One of them just hit his hand on a helmet while pulling in a sweep. They've had bad luck in the hands department.
All right, Alan Harvin is in there, and Booker Russell gets the call, and Booker crosses the midfield and into Pittsburgh territory as he rode a block over that right side. Once again, the Stars primarily a right-handed team, and Booker Russell was able to get about 5 or 6 yards.
All right, the running back gets the yardage, but the linemen do all the work. Steve Folsom has caught a lot of passes this year, but look at him turn it in there and just tie up his man. That is Sam Clancy. It's obvious the Stars have realized how good Clancy is, so in addition to an interior lineman, they're bringing over the tight end, and Folsom does a great job opening the hole for Booker Russell.
2nd down and 4. Kelvin back in there with the football. 1st down as he crosses the 43-yard line down to the 41 of Pittsburgh before Larry Friday could come up and make the play. Friday in there because Delaney, the strong safety, was injured 2 plays back. So it's another Philly 1st down. That is 7 on the day for the Stars. The Maulers also with 7. And Kelvin Bryant got that one on the ground as Willie Collier comes out, lines up to the right. Scott Fitzke working against Jerry Holmes to the left. 1st and 10 Philadelphia. This is Kelvin, bangs into Eatman, and still manages to turn it into maybe a yard gain. Irv Eatman, a little disappointed that time. He pulled a little wide and actually caused Kelvin Bryant to turn it upfield. That play designed to go outside. Mike McKibben and Lavelle Short made the play defensively for the Maulers after Kelvin still managed to get 2 yards, despite the fact that his own man, Irv Eatman, was the best defender on the play. It is 6-3. 3.5 minutes left to go in the 1st half. Rain, a little sleet mixed in with it as the temperature drops here in Pittsburgh. 2nd and 8. Play action. Looking to his left. You've seen it now. Throws incomplete. The intended receiver, fullback Booker Russell. Pretty good defensive play by Ernest Adams, middle linebacker in there for the Maulers. They give Booker a little love tap after that incompletion.
One of the toughest things when you're a quarterback is the week after the game, looking at the game films, as we see Ernest Adams coming off the field there. When you see that there was a guy downfield who was so far open, he could have gotten the ball even if it took 10 seconds to get there. Willie Collier was way open. Chuck didn't see him, tried to get the ball to Booker, but once again, just didn't work on that play.
Alan Harvin's in there with Booker Russell. 3rd down and 8 from the 38 for the Stars. Long count, and Chuck is looking to his right. Sets up. It is tipped and caught, though, down at the 29 by Scott Fitzke. It'll be a Philadelphia 1st down. Bill Yancey on the defense for the Pittsburgh Maulers, but Fitzke got another 1st down. The Stars pick up their 8th 1st down. They have it at Pittsburgh's 29 with 2:40 left 1st half. Here is Harvin as a flag goes down, tries to get outside on the right, but coming up to make the play was Larry Friday. The strong safety for the Maulers is Alan Harvin, was trying to cut around that right corner.
There was a 2 tight end offense. Kenny Dunnick over on the left side jumped before the ball was snapped, so it'll be a procedure penalty against the Stars.
Kenny Dunnick started the season ablaze down in Memphis with 3 catches. Hasn't caught a ball since. As the Stars' offensive scheme has gone to include this year more of the tight ends, especially number 89, of course, Steve Folsom, their leading receiver going into today's game. Steve had caught the ball 18 times and had 2 touchdowns. Fusina so far is 7 of 11 for 106 yards as we pick up Tommy White's explanation on the penalty.
Offside. Number 80 on the offense. 1st down.
That was Dunnick, and Ken stays in. And he'll line up on the right side this time. Willie Collier, now he goes over to the left. Willie Collier is to the left. As Dunnick now comes back and lines up on the wing to the right. Folsom is tight right. On 1st and 15, Fusina flushed out of the pocket. Rush from Sam Clancy, who wrestles him down at the 44. Big Sam getting his 3rd sack of the year. And the former basketball player at Pitt made the big play for the Maulers.
One of the things you like about Sam Clancy, you mentioned his basketball background. He has the quickness that you need in basketball, helps him an awful lot as a pass rusher. In fact, he was invited once to the Phoenix Suns training camp. Good play, though, by Chuck Fusina. A younger, less experienced quarterback might have thrown the ball, possible interception. He just accepts the good defense from Sam Clancy and goes down.
First sack on the afternoon for the Maulers. Overall, they've had 7 now on the season. It's 2nd and 25 from the 44-yard line. And a penalty flag goes down as I think a delay of game is going to be called against Philadelphia. They were unable to get it off in 30 seconds. Although, let's wait. Let's not be too premature on that. Kelvin Bryant.
Number 14 on the offense. 2nd out.
Well, that's what it was. So the Stars, having penalties now, affect this drive. After Fusina was sacked, they'll lose some more here. The ball goes back to the 49-yard line. And we have reached the 2-minute mark here at Three Rivers Stadium. With the score, Stars leading the Maulers 6-3.
And Harry Donahue back with Channel 6 coverage of Philadelphia Stars football. Stars got on the board first. David Trout at the 11:45 mark of the first quarter. He made it 3-0. Then he doubled the advantage early in the second quarter with a field goal exactly half the distance of the first one. Then Tony Lee of the Pittsburgh Maulers battled back at the midway point of the second period. That's where we stand right now with 2 minutes to go in the first half. And the Stars have a long way to go on this play. 2nd and 30 from the 49-yard line as the rain is starting to come down a little bit heavier here at Three Rivers.
They had expected a crowd of about 30,000 this afternoon for this football game. And many of them came prepared as they break out umbrellas and so forth, trying to protect themselves from the rain. Here the Stars have a 2nd and 30 from the Pittsburgh 49. Fusina, as the protection holds up, throws it down to Fitzke, and he's got it down at the 34-yard line. He's still in bounds. Coverage on the play by Bill Yancey. But Scott had to come back for that football from Chuck Fusina on the timing pattern. Of course, it's going to be way short. They need to get down to the 19 for first down.
One of the things that happens when you have 3 wide receivers in there is you have 2 guys on one side. Willie Collier was in the slot that time. Scott Fitzke on the outside. And one of the things Collier did was turn some of the defenders inside and gave Fitzke a little room along the sidelines to make the kick.
Chuck now 8 for 12 and 121 yards throwing here in the first half. 6-3 Stars with 1:20 left to go, and they're trying to come up with a first down on 3rd and 14. Over the middle, Kelvin can't hold on. Nifty defensive play down there by Mickey Sutton just into the game as the 5th defensive back. And otherwise, Kelvin Bryant has himself maybe a first down, and even more than that over the middle. Incomplete on the pass. We've got another injured Mauler. It's David Langlois, the free safety.
All right, let's take a look at what happened on that last play. Chuck Fusina is under tremendous pressure. One of the guys I think you're going to see is number 53, Mike McKibben, right there in his face. And maybe if the pressure hadn't been there, he could have had a better success rate on the pass to Kelvin Bryant. McKibben, one of 2 former Jet linebackers, along with Crosby, in that defensive scheme for the Pittsburgh Maulers as we look at David Langlois down on the ground, he out of Southern California.
Interesting story, too, about David Langlois. He was a participant in a free agent camp that the Maulers conducted in Southern California right before their training camp opened up. And David Langlois deserved at least a training camp look in the minds of Joe Penry and his staff, and they decided to invite him to Florida. Not only did he make the team, but he made it as a starter. And through the first 4 games for Pittsburgh, was a co-leader with 2 interceptions. So David Langlois is going to come off. It looks like they were working on his left knee or leg. And Langlois Greenlaw is going to come out. Already Jeff Delaney went down in that secondary as David Trout comes on for his third field goal attempt of the afternoon. Trout, of course, the leading scorer in the USFL a year ago. Part of his reward for that was the use of an automobile. He's making good use of it this season. This one will be spotted at the 40 out of Timmy Reardon's hold. It's a 50-yard attempt for David Trout. And it's going to go off to the left. Trout misses for the first time this afternoon from 50 yards away. And Pittsburgh holds Philadelphia on this drive with the help of a nice defensive play against Kelvin Bryant on a pass attempt out of the backfield, a penalty, and also a sack.
Gee, I really thought, Harry, after last week's second half offensive explosion against the Oakland Invaders, that maybe at long last the Philadelphia offense was totally on track. But once again here we're seeing the first half struggles. Against Memphis, 3 points. Washington, 7 points. New Jersey, 7 points. Oakland, 0 points. This team, it seems, does not get the wake-up call to halftime, but they had a great one last week against the Invaders as they exploded in the second half. I'm sure Jim Mora has a similar halftime speech planned today.
All right, 1st and 10 from the 34. 1:09 left to go, and Corrado will be into a 2-minute drill here to try to get some points on the board before halftime. Well, he's going to try to pick up a bundle here, going long for Flowers, and it's overthrown down at Philadelphia's 23-yard line. That's the rookie Garcia Lane, who was in there defending against Jackie Flowers. So another test of Garcia Lane, and he met it. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
All right, Jackie Flowers out of Florida State. He's got the good stride. You see those long strides he's taken. He puts a little move there, trying to get by Garcia Lane. Garcia does a fine job staying with him. And, of course, every home fan, when their receiver is bumped even a little bit, says pass interference. But that is incidental contact, did not interfere with his right to get to the ball. And right now we see Oakland 7, San Antonio 7 at the half. That's the only other USFL game in progress.
2nd and 10 now, 34. Rozier tries to sweep to the left, and saying no way is William Fuller, who tracked him down from behind and made the stop in a solo effort for Philadelphia. So Rozier is stopped by William Fuller on that play.
Okay, William Fuller out of North Carolina. We mentioned that Kelvin Bryant said, come to the Stars so you can tackle people like Mike Rozier, and he got him right there.
3rd and 11. Rozier lost a yard, and Carano's going to put it up. Throws down the sideline, tipped, and out of bounds at the front of the Pittsburgh bench. Greg Anderson, the intended receiver, and George Cooper, I think, got a hand on that and tipped it out of bounds and incomplete. So they used up only 36 seconds. The Stars will get it back after the punt here by Swider. As Carano goes off, he's now 8 for 13, 78 yards. That's Garcia Lane backtracking close to his 20-yard line to return this punt. So Lane should be able to get, if he does get returned, some pretty good field position, and the Stars may have a time to get off a couple plays before halftime. Swider with a rush, but he gets it off and he booms it. Penalty flag is down, and Garcia Lane inside the 20 breaks it open. It crosses the 40, gets out over the 45 before Ernest Adams finally stops Garcia Lane. But a penalty flag on the near side of the field. And Tommy Lee indicates that Philadelphia was offsides on that snap. Boy, that's a real shame there, because Garcia Lane with a good return, they would have had excellent field position. I was kind of surprised that the Maulers on their last play before the punt had tried a pass with the time left on the clock, because you really aren't going to get a touchdown right at that point. They went with a short pattern instead of running the ball and trying to use up a little more time, because if the Stars had gotten the ball on that Lane return, they would have had good field position with time to operate. Tommy White indicating offsides against Philadelphia. Lane, in his first appearance as a Stars punt return man, fumbled a couple of times. He hasn't fumbled since. That was back in the Memphis game.
Encroachment, defense, 4th down.
So Swider will get a chance to drive Garcia back even further. Ball spotted out at the 37. And Garcia stands inside his 20-yard line. Another pretty good rush on that right side from Bill Hardy. Lane at the 29. Breaks the tackle, but then is brought down once again. Deja vu as Ernest Adams made the stop. And again, we have a penalty flag, this time down where Garcia Lane was brought down by Adams at the 32.
And as we wait to see the ruling on the penalty tonight, Oklahoma, at Arizona, Jacksonville at L.A. tomorrow, Denver and Memphis, Chicago at New Orleans to take on Marcus Dupree, and Washington at New Jersey. That's your schedule in the USFL tomorrow and tonight. Then on Monday night, a pair of games, the Panthers in Houston, the Birmingham Stallions in Tampa Bay.
All the waist in the back, number 56, during the return. First down.
That's an illegal block against 56 George Cooper on the return by Garcia Lane. So Philadelphia has 11 seconds to do something here before halftime, holding on to a 3-point lead, 6-3. And I don't imagine Jim Moore will try to get too fancy from this position on the field. Chuck will probably just take the snap and sit on it in the first half. That's what he does. And that will be the final play of the first half. And Philadelphia again, a little stodgy coming out here as they open up the first half, get on the board first. And at the end of the first half, the Stars trot off with a slim 6-3 lead over the Pittsburgh Maulers.
Don Tollison along with Harry Donahue back at Three Rivers Stadium. They're putting on a Michael Jackson tribute down on the field, and up here we're going to do a tribute to the first half of football, a half in which we only saw 9 points, 6 for the Stars, 3 for the Maulers on 3 field goals. I really thought that was a bend not break kind of half. I'm sure we'll see in the statistics that there was a lot of yardage gain, but no touchdowns, Harry.
Yeah, Chuck, you've seen that, a couple long gainers. He had the one to Fitzke, and they got down, at a 6-yard line and only come away with 3 points. Jim Moore, has to be concerned over the fact that his team gets good field position and then can only come away with 6 points against a team like Pittsburgh that's only 1-3, and the Stars are 3-1. So I think once again maybe Jim's reading the riot act at halftime like he did last week, and that fired him up in the second half. Let's see what happens today.
All right, last week he did read them the riot act, and they exploded for 28 second half points against the Oakland Invaders. One of the guys who really exploded personally was Chuck Fusina, and as Harry mentioned, in that first half he came up very nicely on a pass that went to Scott Fitzke. It was one of the biggest plays, if not the biggest play. You saw the play action fake to Kelvin Bryant, then Chuck plants himself, looks downfield, gets the ball out there, and as I mentioned the first time we looked at the replay, he got it just over Clancy's left arm. Scott Fitzke with the good catch, and all of a sudden you thought maybe the Stars were but 6 or 7 yards away from a touchdown, but they didn't get it. Instead, they had to settle for another David Trout field goal. He was 2 for 3 in the first half, working out of the hold of Tim Reardon right there, the former Temple quarterback, as he has switched holders this week, and 2 out of 3 times it went very, very well. One of the things I was impressed with in the first half was not only the way the Pittsburgh Maulers stayed with the Philadelphia Stars, but the way they did it was they mixed up their offense. Joe Pendry is a diverse offensive thinker.
Well, he's got somebody back there, too, for the first time, Amos Lawrence. Amos didn't get a lot of yardage, but it's enough to make Philadelphia concentrate on him rather than just keying on one back, Mike Rozier, who's been so far the offense for the Pittsburgh Maulers in their first 4 games. With Amos back there, it allows Pendry, I think, to make Philadelphia think, well, where are they going to go here? Is it going to be famous Amos, or are they going to give it to number 30, Mike Rozier?
And we also mentioned during the first half they have that shuttle system where they use wide receivers as messengers, so they get a lot of different guys involved in the offense because of that as well. Now, we thought that even though there were only 9 points scored, there were a lot of yards picked up in the first half. We're going to have an opportunity to check out the first half statistics and see if our suspicions were in fact confirmed, because here in just a moment we're going to take a look at exactly what went down in that first half, even though David Trout's 2 field goals and Tony Lee's 1 field goal were the only scores between the Stars and the Maulers. And those statistics coming up right here, right now. The computer is telling us we won't have them, but here they are. They've come out of the computer in good shape. You see that both teams had 8 completions on their passing effort in the first half. 122 yards for Fusina, 78 for Glenn Carano. 69 total yards rushing for the Stars, only 24 for the Maulers. 191 to 102. So, Harry, there we see that we had about 300 yards of total offense and only 9 points.
Well, the Stars, once again, perennial slow starters, Don, and maybe Jim Moore's halftime talk this week will duplicate what happened last week when the Stars came out and fired up 28 points. Certainly, I think Pittsburgh's been hurt by injuries. A couple of their defensive backs have gone down. Maybe that will help Philadelphia in that second half.
Very quickly, we're looking at what happened to Philadelphia when they got the ball. Pretty good field position as they started at their 46, 39, then the 27, 25, and the 20. They got a couple of field goals out of it, missed one, punted once, and then they went into the halftime. Now here's what the Maulers did. They started deeper in their own territory almost every time with only the 34-yard start, the one you would call good field position. They ended up with the one field goal. So we have 3 field goals, 2 for the Stars, 1 for the Maulers, 6-3 Philadelphia. We'll be back with another half of United States Football League football action from Three Rivers Stadium when we join you right after this on the Channel 6 Philadelphia Stars Sports Network. Don Tallis and Harry Donahue back at Three Rivers Stadium as we take a look at Jim Mora. I'm sure he got out a couple of strong words in that halftime locker room scene. Jim is a low-profile coach as we look at his counterpart, Joe Pendry. But as you know, Harry, we did a feature on Jim. We mic'd him up. And when he needs to be, he can be a strongly worded guy to get his point across.
Well, Jim, as you mentioned, very low profile. He's almost embarrassed, I think, at all the attention that was created by that halftime speech or whatever he gave last week. He kind of shook it off as being nothing. All the players, though, said it's the biggest explosion they've heard out of Jim Mora since he's taken over as the Stars head coach a year ago. So we'll begin this second half with David Trout kicking off. David, the difference in this football game as far as the Stars are concerned with a pair of field goals, and there's William Miller getting ready to return this kickoff to start the second half. Mike Rozier, a little slow out of the starting blocks this afternoon.
William Miller comes from one of those great schools, Wachata Baptist, one of the great names from down in the great Southwest. He's a guy who was the Canadian Football League Rookie of the Year in 1980, and he's back to receive David Trout's kickoff.
So here we go to start the second half from Pittsburgh in the rain. It is a low kick on a couple hops. It goes out of Friday's hands, and picking up Joel Coles, and he's able to get back across the 15 to the 16-yard line. Coming up to make the stop for the Stars was Michael Johnson out of Virginia Tech, who was originally property of these Pittsburgh Maulers. But Stars president and general manager Carl Peterson was able to swing a deal and picked up Johnson, and the Stars like him a lot. First half statistics for Carano, 8 of 12. And he'll start the second half from the 16-yard line. Mike Rozier and Joel Coles, the two backs that opened up the first half, are in there in the I formation. On first and 10 from their own 16. The Maulers give to Rozier. Sweeps to the right. Glenn Howard is 51. Coming up to make the stop. Pair of guys out of Camden, New Jersey. Howard stopping Woodrow Wilson High's most famous athlete, alumnus, Mike Rozier.
And I don't think you can talk too much about the Camden athletic tradition in all their high schools, both private and parochial and public in that area. You have all sorts of kids. You talk about the basketball players at Louisville. Kevin Walls, the great basketball star at Camden, headed there next year. Camden, a great sports hotbed.
Rozier got 4, second and 6. And play action for Glenn Carano. Has time, out of the backfield, Rozier caught it at the 24 and leaned over the 25 and is down out at the 27-yard line. Sam Mills in there, hanging on to Mike Rozier, but it's going to be a Pittsburgh first down.
All right, let's look at what happens here on the play. We see Mike Rozier on the play-action fake. Cole stays in there to block. Mike Rozier fights off one of the Stars and then turns around and puts up the red flag. He's wide open. Good hit there by Antonio Gibson coming up to make sure he tied him up.
Of course, a week ago, Rozier caught a 62-yarder from Carano to set up a field goal in that win over Washington. First and 10. Maulers from their own 27. Carano, quick toss, Rozier behind Coles. Can't get outside. William Fuller met him along with John Bunning, the veteran of 13 years out of North Carolina. So a couple of Tar Heels making the stop against Mike Rozier. And it's going to be second down, and Rozier managed maybe a yard. Second and 9 as the spot is at the 27-yard line. This time Amos Lawrence will team up as we take a look at some of the Maulers getting warm on the sideline. Dramatic drop in temperature today from earlier. And it's also raining. 2nd and 10 from the 27. This is Famous Amos again spinning, but he can't get away from George Cooper out of Michigan State. Big Coop, who is built like a statue, they say. Physically, a heck of a specimen George Cooper is. The ball is going to be out at the 29-yard line. And it's going to set up a 3rd and 8 situation from there for the Pittsburgh Maulers, and Lawrence goes out of that Pittsburgh offensive lineup. He's replaced by a wide receiver, Sean Potts. Here is a 3rd down pass from Glenn Carano. Looking over the middle, tight end. Mark Rao couldn't hold on. He was wide open out over the 40-yard line, but Rao just couldn't hold on to the football. And once again, the Maulers failed to convert on a 3rd down situation, and the Stars will take Larry Swider's punt. Back to return it for Philadelphia will be Garcia Lane. Swider played for Jackie Sherrill at Pitt, and a place kicker on that same team was a fellow by the name of David Trout. Of course, David played here with the Steelers before coming over to the Stars a season ago. Swider stands inside his 15-yard line. Stars have had some pretty good pressure. The last couple of times have punted. Let's see what happens here. Pittsburgh's got about 5 seconds to get it off, and Swider with no rush. Another return from the 32. Garcia Lane gets a block from McCann, sweeps it up that right sideline over the 50, and spins his way to the Pittsburgh 42-yard line, tripped up by Larry Swider, the punter.
One of the advantages of getting pressure on a previous punt is that maybe the team punting is going to be so concerned they don't get downfield to cover. That's exactly what happened there. Garcia Lane had lots of room. He got a couple of good breaks right there where guys laid the blocks they needed to. You see number 56, that was George Cooper with the block, and then Swider finally makes the tackle. But they were so worried about protection that they didn't get down and cover. Good field position for the Philadelphia Stars. They're leading 6-3.
Welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium. Stars leading 6-3, and on that first play, Kelvin Bryant took it over the right side behind Irv Even and Chuck Comiskey, turned it into a gain of about 7 yards from the 42-yard line down to about the 35. Good return on that last punt by Garcia Lane of 27 yards, gave Philadelphia pretty good field position to start the second half. 6-3 if you're just joining us. Stars leading the Pittsburgh Maulers. Slow out of the start. Let's see what happens here in the second half. From the Pittsburgh 34, Booker Russell stood up at the 35 and driven back. He'll lose a yard or two as David Graham teamed up with Doug Holly to put the hit on Stars fullback Booker Russell.
And there's Sam Clancy once again. He was involved right in the middle of that because he is just so big and so strong. You see Booker Russell there, and there's Sam Clancy. Nobody blocked him on the play. He comes in and just shuts it down. He is a good-looking defensive lineman, and for a guy they once said could only pass rush, he's playing the run superbly today.
It's been a long year for Sam Clancy. Started off in Seattle, and it's still going on here in Pittsburgh. Stars now have it 3rd down and 3. They lost 4, and you've seen it. Tosses it out. Bryant, he's got the first down. He's inside the 30, and Kelvin, loose football, but after the whistle, as Herb Beekman makes sure nobody gets it from Pittsburgh and kicks it out of bounds. But Kelvin on the swing pass got the first down yardage.
When you have got good people to catch the ball, and when you have got time to throw the ball, that's a golden combination. There you see the right side of the line, Irv Eatman, Chuck Comiskey. You see Gilbert and Oates right there in the center. They did the good job. Here's Fusina getting the ball out there to Kelvin Bryant. They get the first down. Maybe the key was they had 2 wide receivers on the left side, led to soft coverage on the right side.
From the 26, 1st and 10, Kelvin right up the middle where he was so good last week, and this time crosses the 20-yard line. Very close to a first down. It'll be maybe a yard short before Ron Crosby and Mike McKibben, the 2 outside linebackers for the Maulers, finally stopped number 44, Kelvin Bryant. You know what Jim Moore had told us yesterday, that the Stars may have Kelvin throwing the football today. They've got that in the playbook, a halfback option with Kelvin putting it up. course, Alan Harvin has thrown some passes in his career with Philadelphia. He's 0 for 1 this year, but last year came up with a couple of big plays, including in that unbelievable playoff victory against Chicago. There's the first down indication. That quarterback eligible completion to Chuck Fusina. Part of that dramatic comeback in the fourth quarter by the Stars in the win over the Blitz. So Philadelphia picks up another first down, and it's going to be first down and 10 from the 20, or let's make that the 16-yard line. Back split behind Fusina, and he's looking to throw it to Scott Fitzke, who, let's see, penalty flag goes down, and a touchdown as Fitzke spins it into the end zone. Beating on the play, Bill Yancey. Interference was probably going to be the call anyway, but Fitzke beat him to the football, and Fusina laid it up there to number 81, and Scott gets his second touchdown of the season.
Harry, if you remember when we looked at the replay of the first half pass, we said that if Yancey would just turn around a little bit, he could see the ball coming in. But once again, Chuck Fusina just loops it over the defensive back. Scott Fitzke looks it all the way in. Of course, on this play, Yancey got all tangled up with Fitzke as well.
Number 24, penalties declining. The score is good.
There you take a look at the combination. Chuck Fusina to Scott Fitzke. That was the same kind of catch he had for a touchdown in last week's win over Oakland. David Trout with the extra point attempt.
Kick is up, and it is no good as Trout misses on the point after. So the Stars fail to convert after the touchdown. We've got a timeout in Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia leading the Pittsburgh Maulers early in the second half. It's 12-3.
Don Tolleson, Harry Donahue for Channel 6 back at Three Rivers. One final end zone look at the touchdown pass. Chuck Fusina, Scott Fitzke, the Penn State connection, touchdown. Here's the kickoff with the Stars leading 12-3.
David Trout will kick off, and William Miller stands back at his 1-yard line. 12-3 the score as Trout gets set to put his foot to it. High and short. Miller from the 7. Angles to the middle of the field. And there goes a penalty flag down, and so does Miller. Tackled on the play by George Jameson. May have had an illegal block on that return against the Pittsburgh Maulers.
They're going to whistle number 93, Ken Dombrowski. You see the call there from referee Tommy White, illegal block, and that's going to bury the Maulers deep in their own territory, already trailing by 9 with 8:31 to go in the third period. Number 93, Ken Dombrowski, though, the guilty man right there.
They might as well call this the South Jersey Bowl, Don. We've got Rozier, we got a handful of stars, even Tommy White's from South Jersey.
Illegal block above the waist in the back door to return. Number 93, first step.
93 is their monster man, Ike Griffin, out of Michigan State. And he was called for that penalty. There's that Stars drive. Under 3 minutes, the elapsed time. The big one, a 16-yard touchdown pass. You've seen it to Fitzke. Up against the wall. The Maulers 1st and 10 at their own 8 after the penalty. And Carano, after play action, is going to run with it and slides his way out over the 15-yard line. That's Glenn Howard coming up to make the play. 51 for Philadelphia. And there's quarterback Chuck Fusina, a homecoming for him. He can see Three Rivers Stadium from his parents' house in McKees Rock, Pennsylvania. And on the sidelines, the defense of Pittsburgh tries to figure out how to prevent what just happened, as Fusina hit Fitzke in the corner of the end zone to give Philadelphia that 12-3 lead. Carano gained 3 as he scampered out to the 11, or out to the 16 on second down. Second back through, that is Amos Lawrence, or Mike Rozier, with Antonio Gibson and John Bunning throwing him back. So Rozier was able to get a couple more, and it's going to be first down for Pittsburgh out around the 19-yard line. So the Maulers give themselves a little bit more breathing room after being stuck by that penalty down inside the 10. 2 plays, they got a first down out at the 19. Flowers is in there as one of the wide receivers along with Greg Anderson. Maulers, the other running back. And here is the intended receiver Anderson, and Antonio Gibson nearly intercepted. John Sutton also helping out, but there is the Stars' strong safety, or free safety, Mike Lush, coming over to help defend on that play as well.
I saw Glenn Carano really shaking the cobwebs as Glenn Howard, number 51, one of the linebackers for the Philadelphia Stars, came in there and planted his helmet right in the upper back as soon as he released the ball. It was not a late hit, a good clean hit, but Carano definitely felt it.
You know, this is a young offensive line for the Pittsburgh Maulers. And Carano here on 2nd and 10 looks this time to his right, and he's got Flowers on the sideline pattern, and a Pittsburgh first down in front of Garcia Lane out at the 35-yard line, a timing pattern. And Carano and Jackie Flowers were able to click on that one and pick up the first down yardage and more. And now Pittsburgh's got something in the makings of a drive underway out at their own 34-yard line. It started back at the 8.
One of the things I'm impressed with there is the fact that Jackie Flowers is a new Pittsburgh Mauler. He wasn't with them in training camp, and especially when you run the timing, as he's had 3 catches for 39 yards, the timing patterns, they're really showing a lot of maturity in short order.
From the 34 on first down, Carano over the middle, incomplete. Anderson, the intended receiver, and Glenn Howard almost came up with that interception. He was behind by about 5 yards, the intended receiver, Greg Anderson. But Carano drilled it, and Anderson couldn't come up with it. It'll bring up a 2nd and 10, 34, as it continues the rain here in Pittsburgh. And now, faced with his 2nd and 10, 3 wide receivers are in the lineup as Carano goes back again to throw. This time flush to the right side. Fuller comes up, hits him as he delivers, or after he delivers. The intended receiver, Mike Rozier, and I think some of the folks here wanted a penalty call against William Fuller for that hit after Glenn Carano got it off. But the ball was incomplete. Intended for Rozier out of the backfield for Pittsburgh, and it's going to be 3rd and 10 now, still at the 34-yard line. And Rozier trots off. Carano had him open, but couldn't deliver. Also out of the lineup, Mark Rao at tight end. In there, Sean Potts and Jackie Flowers, along with Greg Anderson. And the backs are Coles and William Miller. 3rd and 10. Maulers from their 34. Stars stunning, trying to get to Carano. He throws down the sidelines, incomplete, out of bounds, out near the 45-yard line. Sean Potts, the intended receiver. But they fail to convert on 3rd down, and Larry Swider comes in to punt it away.
As you see Fuller, and you saw the stunt right there. That was number 91, Buddy Moore, coming around. They put the good pressure on Carano, and that forced the throw for the incompletion. Larry Swider punted.
Pretty good protection, and Swider hits a high spiraling punt that Garcia Lane will take at his 25. And he's finally driven back there at the 30-yard line. Coming up on the special teams coverage was Ernest Adams, a linebacker, to make the hit on the Stars' Garcia Lane. 6:40 left to go, 3rd quarter. Here at a rainy, overcast Three Rivers Stadium, Stars lead 12-3. 6.5 minutes left to go in the 3rd quarter. Stars lead 12-3, and they have the football from their own 30-yard line. 1st and 10 as Pritzky goes in motion. This is Kelvin Bryant behind Chuck Comiskey's blocking. Kelvin tripped up on the play by David Langlois, that free agent out of Southern Cal. Kelvin picking up about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Stars, as once again they test the left side of the Maulers defense. And Bryant was able to pick up 3 yards. 2nd down, just shy of the 34-yard line. And we've got Bryant teamed now with Alan Harbin, replacing Booker Russell in that Stars backfield. And here comes Allen to the near side. Gets a block. That's Comiskey again. Chuck Comiskey at the 35 was working on a linebacker, and Bruce Huther was able to slip in there and make the tackle. Huther, the middle linebacker. One thing the Stars coaching staff noticed about Huther is the fact that a lot of times he gets knocked off his feet in that middle part of the field. And with that 4-3 lineup, of course, That middle linebacker is so important. Fusina throwing on the day now, 10 for 15 at 147 yards, and Kelvin has gained 77 yards rushing. Chuck back to throw, looks right, Fitzke, 45. And out of bounds close to midfield on the reception, the first down for Philadelphia. As Fusina goes back to his buddy Scott Fitzke and Yancey, who's having a tough afternoon trying to keep up with Scott Fitzke.
All right, once again, you need time to get the ball off. We've said the pass rusher who is the best for that team there, the Pittsburgh Maulers, number 77, Sam Clancy. Irv Eatman tying him up pretty well, gave Fusina the time to find a wide-open Scott Fitzke. Here's a look at the pass itself. Fitzke's got about 4 or 5 yards on everybody, picks up a couple extra yards, juking after he made the catch.
First and 10 Stars from their 49. Fusina looks to put it up. Now he's going to run with it. Gets a block on the left side from Booker Russell and is finally tripped up in Panther territory at the 46 by Mike McKibben, the outside linebacker on that right side for the Pittsburgh Maulers. But Fusina always a threat to run. In fact, going into today's game, he was the Stars' second leading ground gainer. And, of course, George Allen remembers so well what Chuck Fusina did last year to his Chicago Blitz in the regular season and the playoffs when he decided to run with it.
They call that the quarterback slide. I like to call it the coach's slide. That's what the coach wants his quarterback to do. Just get down under before you're hit. Chuck Fusina did exactly that.
All right, 2nd and 6 from Pittsburgh's 46. This is Kelvin on the draw. Bryant gets across the 45 before David Graham and Ken Dombrowski, right in the middle of that front four for Pittsburgh, teamed up to stop Kelvin Bryant. Kelvin, as we mentioned, 77 yards before that carry.
If there's a hole, you got to get to it. Kelvin Bryant can get to it. Straight ahead, nothing fancy about this. And again, he's got that good upper body strength. He's tough to bring down.
3rd, and they need 4 to convert it to a first down for Pittsburgh's 44. Back split, and Chuck Fusina fades the pass. Big rush, and he eludes it. And he's going to run for it and get the first down. That's all he wants to run, too, because as soon as he knew where he was, that he had crossed that 40-yard line where he had to go for the first down, he hit the turf, got down to the 37, and it's a Philadelphia first down there.
In part because they have Sam Clancy, they do not blitz a lot. Here they're coming with a lot of people. Fusina reads it, gets by one of the hits, 2 of the hits, steps up, and then slides for the first down.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line as the Stars began this drive back at their own 30. Russell in there with Alan Harvin this time on first down. This is Booker Russell. Backs into his own man, and now he's going to be driven back. Coming up to force the play is David Langlois. And Langlois lets Booker Russell know who he is on that play.
I think what Langlois wanted was a flag because Booker Russell with the old-fashioned straight arm, I got to believe he got the face mask because once the initial contact was made, Russell's trying to fight him off. Now watch on the replay. Here goes Booker. He goes to his right. He's closed off there. Tries to go outside. He's got Langlois. Now watch. He'll put up his arm, go for the oh yeah, he almost pulled his helmet off. Should have been a flag, but it wasn't. So the Stars get a break right there. Booker Russell out of Southwest Texas State.
A lot of credit on that play goes to Ron Cosby for bumping Comiskey, who bumped Russell. 2nd 15, little screen. Harvin with Bart Oates out there, the center, and Allen, who will be wrapped up before he gets to the 35 at the 36. McKibben and Bruce Huther. Huther, the middle linebacker, McKibben, the right linebacker for Pittsburgh. And that time, I don't think the screen really got enough chance to get set up as Bart Oates tried to get out there, pulling from his center position to lead the way for Alan Harvin around the left side, but the pass was thrown a little bit early by Fusina, and Oates was unable to set up the downfield blocking for Alan Harvin. 3rd, they'll need 8. The spots at the 35 on the walls. Just under 2 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Then up on the board, the Stars lead Pittsburgh 12-3. The lone touchdown, a 16-yard pass from Fusina to Scott Fitzke. 3 wide receivers for Philadelphia on 3rd and 8. Fusina looking for Fitzke, and now he's going to have to run. It's wide open in the middle of the field, and again, Chuck Fusina is able to get a Philadelphia first down. As everybody was covered, the field was open down the middle, and Fusina took off and got the yardage. 1st and 10 from The 28, here's the throw for Fitzke again, and let's see, did he get it? Yes, for the touchdown. Scott Fitzke in front of Bill Yancey, you can't believe it, but Fitz got it in, and there's the spin, and the Stars have scored for the second time here in the second half.
Well, Scott Fitzke's really doing some numbers on Bill Yancey here, number 21. We got the ISO camera on Fitzke once again on this play, and he is just showing how much experience counts for us. He does a little bit of the high five there with Duck David Riley. Watch Scott Fitzke here as he will go up one-on-one against Yancey, and this is the risk you take when you go man for man. If the receiver's just a little bit more experienced, he can make the good play, and you saw on the replay why everybody here in Three Rivers is letting the officials know what they thought of that call.
Here is the point after by Trout, and again he misses. So David Trout twice has missed point after touchdowns, but the Stars, with 37 seconds left to go here in the third quarter, have scored again. Up on the board, Philadelphia leading now 18-3.
John Tallis and Harry Donahue for Channel 6 back at Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh. In some levels of football, you need 1 foot in. Others, you need 2. But at no level do you get a touchdown for having neither foot in. He was clearly on the line. You see why Yancey was complaining. Watch the play right there. But Fitzke looks as if, hey, I caught a touchdown. The referee believed him instead of his eyes watching the line. Yancey is just incensed. But the Stars have a 15-point lead at 18-3. And here comes a spin.
Yeah, he does that well too, doesn't he? Here's David Trout. He's had some tough luck converting PATs. And this is going to be William Miller for Pittsburgh's return. And he's finally brought down out of the 27. Glenn Howard, and helped out by Jeff Rodenberger on that tackle against William Miller. So Pittsburgh will have it first down and 10 from the Maulers' 29-yard line.
We look at Miller coming off. Nice play there by Jeff Rodenberger. The scoring drive covered 70 yards in 10 plays. Most importantly, ate up over 6 minutes on the clock. We're down to the 22-second mark and counting here in the third period. So that Philadelphia lead of 15 points looking very good. It's Glenn Carano and the Maulers start deep in their own territory.
Quick toss, and sweeping out to this near side is Mike Rozier. Gets a couple blocks, and he's open. And he's got yardage out to midfield before Antonio Gibson and Mike Lush team up to knock him out of bounds. That's the first bit of running we've seen of Mr. Rozier this afternoon as he turns it upfield and gets the first down.
This is why he won the Heisman, why he won the Maxwell, why he was the first pick in the entire USFL draft. Mike Rozier is a great pure running back, and I'll say what I said before, if he had a more experienced offensive line instead of 5 different lines, 5 different weeks, his stats would be very good.
From the middle of the field, Rozier tries the left side, and he's got 4 or 5 ganged up over there by Donnie Fielder first, and a couple linebackers helping out for Philadelphia. Fielder out of Kentucky at 6'5" and 251. And that's it for the third quarter here at Three Rivers Stadium. Stars getting 2 scores in that third quarter to take an 18-3 lead.
John Tollefson, Harry Donahue, Channel 6 exclusive coverage of Philadelphia Stars football as the Stars try to go to 4-1 on the year. And they are up 18-3 as we begin the fourth quarter, and Jim Moore has got to be happy, Harry Donahue, with the way his team responded offensively after a sluggish first half.
Here it is 2nd and 6. Maulers, Stars 46. Quick screen pass, Anderson. And he is going to come up short. He needs to get to the 40. Mike Lush and Sam Mills stopped him on that near sideline. Be about a yard short. It's at the 41-yard line for the Pittsburgh Maulers. Greg Anderson, their leading pass receiver, as he got across the 40, and finally Glenn Howard and Antonio Gibson brought him down, but not before he got another first down for the Pittsburgh Maulers. So the drive continues early here in the fourth quarter.
The one thing that statistics don't tell you is when you get this kind of second effort in a short yardage situation, it's only going to be a yard or so no matter how much effort you give. But Rozier would not quit, turns it around, picks up the first down.
From the 38-yard line, Carano has only Rozier behind him. Looking to his left, throwing to his left. Anderson's got the first down, still on his feet, and then Antonio Gibson finishes him off. at the 26-yard line. But it's going to be a Pittsburgh first down on a 12-yard throw from Glenn Carano to Greg Anderson. And the Maulers aren't going to roll over.
We're taking a look at those third quarter statistics. The Stars have the advantage in rushing yardage. Look at that advantage in passing yardage, 190 to 25. Total yardage 303 to 165, and a big time of possession edge to the Stars as well.
First down and 10 from Philadelphia's 25. Again, Rozier, the lone running back. As here Carano sets up, throws, right side, tight end, Mike Shaw, and Sam Mills brings him down at the 15-yard line.
Okay,
so it's going to be another first down for the Pittsburgh Maulers this time as Carano went to his tight end, Mike Shaw.
Here we got Sam Mills, the man we profiled at halftime, the leader of that doghouse defense. He backpedals, reading. That's what linebackers who are good have to do. They got to watch the play develop. Even though it's a good pickup, Sam Mills makes sure it's no bigger than it was.
Time left, 12:20. And the Maulers trailing 18-3 have a drive going here from Philadelphia's 14, first down and 10. Carano looks to throw, right side, throws, and it is incomplete. The intended receiver over there was Jackie Flowers, and Garcia Lane broke it up for Philadelphia in the right corner of the end zone. Nifty play by the rookie from Ohio State.
Kicks right off the bat, but his confidence has bounced back in a big way in recent weeks. Look at Garcia Lane. He watches the ball. Flowers had a good shot at it, but Garcia comes across and makes the great defensive play out of Ohio State.
Second and 10, 14-yard line. And going to the right, Rozier, and he's going to be stacked up at the 10-yard line. He'll pick up 4. Coming up to hit him first was Sam Mills, and then William Fuller finished him off. Fuller, of course, the left end for the Stars on their front three. Missing today from that front three is Pete Kugler, but that time Fuller met Rozier and downed him after the 4-yard pickup.
I know Pete Kugler wants to be here, but he'd have to take on a very good running back in Mike Rozier. You see how quick he is. There is a difference between speed and quickness. He's got the flat-out 100-yard dash speed, but also the quickness in terms of the great cuts we saw there.
From the 10, third and 6. Carano under the rush, throws incomplete to Rozier, and Glenn Howard was on him and on his back at the 19-yard line. His quarterback, Glenn Carano, the big rush from George Cooper, the linebacker on the right side for Philadelphia.
You know he had to be hit hard when the jersey comes all the way off and under the shoulder pad. Carano throwing for Rozier, and he really took a beating as we look at the replay here. Just gets it off. Cooper puts the helmet right in the 8 part of the 18 numeral, and the pass was downfield. Rozier wanted interference but didn't get it.
So they're going to go for it on 4th and 6 from the 10. Miller and Rozier are the backs, and Carano looks at that Stars defensive setup and decides to get another play. Or did Philadelphia call timeout? In any event, 11:22 remain in the football game from Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia leads 18-3. The first down. Let's see if Carano goes into the end zone here. Gets the rush to the Stars from Fielder, who brings him down at the 19-yard line. Donnie Fielder on the big defensive rush from that right side, and a penalty flag is down in the end zone. And we'll have to see what that's all about. Penalty flag in the end zone, sack for Fielder on 4th and 6. And it looks like Pittsburgh will get another shot at it. There's the call from Tommy White. Holding against Philadelphia. Costly error, because without it, they have the football. It'll be an automatic first down. Or let's see. They'll spot it at the 5. Like the penalty against Antonio Gibson for holding in the end zone.
All right, it went for naught due to the penalty, but a great rush by Donnie Fielder. He's out of California's great junior college football system. Played his college ball at Kentucky. A great pass rushing defensive end, number 96, Don Fielder. Now the Maulers get another shot, though, due to the penalty.
All right, they bring Sean Potts in as the third receiver. Rozier, the lone setback. First and goal now from the 5. 5. Carano throws, and it's intended for the tight end Rao, but incomplete coverage on the play by Cooper and Mike Lush. John Bunning applying some pressure on Carano. 11:13 left, and the Stars leading 18-3. Boy, Moore will be upset if they get in here after it appeared Donnie Fielder had made the defensive play to stop the drive, and the penalty gives Pittsburgh another shot. 2nd and goal from the 5. To the right side, Carano for Flowers. He's got it for the touchdown. Jackie Flowers in that corner over there, beating Garcia Lane, and Pittsburgh's on the board.
All right, a situation where the Philadelphia Stars doghouse defense was coming with a blitz, and when you come with a blitz, you got to single cover outside people. Jackie Flowers, one-on-one against Garcia Lane. You'll watch as Carano drops. There's a lot of people coming, but it's a timing pattern. One-on-one, he turned Garcia the wrong way. Flowers from Florida State with a nice touchdown catch. Folks, we got ourselves a football game as Glenn Carano got rid of the ball perfectly, and that's got to be a testimony to that Dallas Cowboys system where he learned to be an intelligent quarterback by watching. Here's the extra point attempt from Lee. It is up and good. Just like that, the Pittsburgh Maulers are back in the ball game, 18-10. Philadelphia Stars in the 4th. Don Tollefson back at Three Rivers Stadium. One more look. Pittsburgh Mauler touchdown pass. Glenn Carano to Jackie Flowers. He beats Garcia Lane. He's from Florida State. Played with the Arizona Wranglers last season where he had 63 receptions, 11 touchdown catches, and they're very glad they got him here in Pittsburgh with the Maulers right now as he warms himself up in front of a heater along the Pittsburgh bench.
Here is Lee's kickoff. The line drives it. Hits at the 25. Finally, Mark McCann picks it up, 15, and will get out to the 21. So that little bit of a hesitation on the fumble by McCann's costly. Mike Shaw making the tackle, and there's the scoring drive for the Maulers. 71 yards in 11 plays. The touchdown pass of 5 yards to Flowers. And with plenty of time left, 11 minutes, just under 11 minutes, the Stars holding on to an 18-10 lead now. Tommy Donovan wide left. Fitzke Collier to the right. Busina looking to his left. Penalty flag down. He's going to have to run, and he gets out over the 25, down to the 27. Sam Clancy making the stop, but we've got a yellow flag.
As we await a judgment here from the officials, Sam Clancy in there on the stop against Busina that time.
Touchdown and point after would win it. Busina, 2nd and long. Fitzke's got it out over the 30, and he's got a first down for the Stars at the 33-yard line. Bill Yancey, who will be dreaming of 81.
Scott Fitzke, folks, runs the good routes. He knows exactly where he's supposed to go. He puts the right move on the defensive back, knows he's past the sticks if he just leans it out there and gets the first down. Heady play.
Fitzke, 7 catches, 134 yards on the afternoon, and a pair of TDs as Alan Harvin breaks into the open at the 45, and look at Alan Harvin roll into Pittsburgh territory inside the 45, and Alan Harvin is finally brought down by David Langlois.
The block comes, though, from number 32, the former Philadelphia Eagle, Booker Russell. He just leans into the line right there, gives Harvin an opening, and with Alan Harvin's explosion, he's able to turn it into a big gain. So the two running backs combine right there. By the way, Kelvin Bryant was on the sidelines rooting him along. He's not hurt. He's just taking a breather.
23-yard pickup by Harvin. Here is Allen again on the counter, and it goes across the 40, inside the 40 to about the 39. David Graham, the left tackle, and middle linebacker, Bruce Huther, coming up to make the stop. Bryant has a pulled hamstring, we understand, Don. So Bryant on that sideline being looked at. 2nd and 7 from the 40. As Busina goes to work. Play action. Setting up. Throwing long. Fitzke is wide open. Touchdown. A mix-up in that secondary as Jerry Holmes and Bill Yancey collided at the 20 or 15, and Fitzke could have knelt down and made that reception for the touchdown, his third of the afternoon. And Chuck Fusina and Scott Fitzke are having one heck of an afternoon at Three Rivers Stadium.
Well, Scott Fitzke is just eating the Pittsburgh Maulers secondary alive. Chuck Fusina, I got to believe, says to himself, oh no, he's so far open that I'm going to do something wrong. The ball's going to slip. Murphy's Law, but no way. Chuck Fusina's a veteran. Scott Fitzke is a veteran. He backs in, and he got a great spin on this as it went forever. We'll check that on a replay after we watch the kick here.
Trout out of Reardon's hold, and this time he makes it. So he's 1 for 3 in that department. But the Stars, with Scott Fitzke having his best day as a Philadelphia Star, taking this 25-10 lead.
Don Tallis and Harry Donahue at Three Rivers, Pittsburgh. 7:42 to go in the game. The Stars now up 25-10. The final 7 points in that total coming from this play right here. Chuck Fusina to the wide open. And we mean wide open. Look, you pull the camera back, you got 10 yards there.
Joe Penry wishes that maybe now he was still in Philadelphia. As last year he was cheering every move that Chuck Fusina and Scott Fitzke made as their offensive coordinator. Here he has another point of view. That's Miller to take the kickoff from David Trout. End over end and short. Miller kneels at his 13 and goes to work. Tripped up as he crosses the 25 by Herbert Harris, a wide receiver on special teams. And what looked like for the Pittsburgh Maulers a promising fourth quarter suddenly has turned into a real comeback effort if they're going to do it. They trail by 15 at 25-10. There's the scoring drive, 79 yards in 5 plays. The final 40 coming on that Scott Fitzke touchdown reception from Chuck Fusina. Chuck having his biggest day a week ago with 260 yards, and now on the afternoon 245 yards, 15 for 20 throwing the football, and those 3 touchdown passes to Fitzke. Carano goes to work from the 28. On first down, looking long for Greg Anderson, and he can't hold on down at the 30. Jonathan Sutton running step for step with Greg Anderson, who definitely had a shot at the football.
Absolutely. It was almost the perfect pass play because Glenn Carano, as we'll take a look on the replay here, has the perfect quarterback form. Folks, this is central casting, a nice drop back, the plant, the read of the receiver, and you just get it up there and hang it out there. And here you see it at the other end coming down. Anderson has the ball in his grasp. It goes right down the middle.
2nd and 10 from the 28. Again, Carano throws Rozier out of the backfield, 35, and Jonathan Sutton brings him down at about the 39-yard line. Mike Rozier on the quick toss from Glenn Carano.
6:45 and counting here in the ball game. Stars well in command at 25-10. Mike Rozier gets the ball in the open field, but the great play by John Sutton, not just the tackle, but what you'll see, you see Rozier coming around here. The only reason Sutton is able to make the tackle is he had fought off the block from the wide receiver, came up and made the stop.
Pittsburgh has it 2nd and 10 from the Mauler 40, and Carano looking to his right, gets the rush, gets it off. It's tipped by Gibson and incomplete, intended for Potts, or Mike Shaw on the tight end. 3rd down now and 10 from the 40. And Carano will try to come up with a conversion. Center Chuck Correal is out, and Jeff Harper replaces him. Correal started the ball game and played until now, but Harper in there. 3rd down 10 from the 40. Carano looking long down the middle. Flowers at the 42-yard line. And coming up on the play was Mark McCants, who was in there as the nickel back for Philadelphia. But they converted into a 1st down the middle to Jackie Flowers, who picks up the pass from Glenn Carano and takes it into Philadelphia territory.
Isolated look at number 84, Jackie Flowers. We told you all day about him being an acquisition of the Pittsburgh Maulers just recently, and he and Scott Fitzke are giving us a clinic today in wide receivers as he has 5 receptions for 62 yards, 1 score.
From the 42-yard line, Carano, quick toss out to his tight end, Mark Rao, and it was poorly thrown. The pass rush from Sam Mills and coverage by John Bunning on that left side for Philadelphia. Carano now is 16 for 32 for 162 yards. No match today for Fusina's 15 of 20 for 245. Verano 1 TD toss, and Fusina's got 3, all to number 81, Scott Fitzke. Exactly 5 minutes left. 25 to 10. Stars leading the Maulers, who have it second and 10 from the 40 of Philadelphia. Verano again, looking to the right side. Again, he goes to the tight end. That's Brow, who holds on and takes it inside the 35 to the 34, knocked out of bounds over there by linebacker George Jameson out of Cincinnati, another South Jersey product.
We've told you all along the Pittsburgh Maulers offensive line is new from week to week because they've had injuries and stuff. The Philadelphia Stars putting a lot of pressure on there. They didn't have that many guys rushing, so there were a couple of double teams. But once the Maulers offensive line gets more work together, they'll be better. Toronto back to pass right here. It's getting good protection there. Looks out to his left, incomplete for Glenn Toronto and the Maulers.
That time he was trying again to come up with the completion to Mark Rowell, and George Jameson out of Bridgeton, New Jersey, and Cincinnati was covering on the play. So it'll set up a 4th and 2 for the Maulers in Philadelphia territory at the Stars' 34-yard line. As Pittsburgh needs to turn this one into a first down or more. The sent back is Rozier. As Toronto looks for Mike out of the backfield, setting up the screen, and he's going to come up short. And helping him to come up short and forcing that play, number 54, Sam Mills.
Well, we profiled Sam Mills at halftime because he's a guy who just typifies the effort of the doghouse defense. 11 guys, many of them were not that well known when they came to the Philadelphia Stars, but just like Sam Mills, they have become well known in a hurry because they are, in a word, relentless. They just keep coming at you and coming at you and coming at you. One quick comment, though, Harry, about Mike Rozier. We've mentioned the inexperience of that offensive line. I think Rozier is going to be a great running back in this or any other league. He's so durable. He takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Fine young man from Camden.
All right, Stars with Fusina take over 1st and 10 from Philadelphia's 34. This is Alan Harvin cracking right up the middle, and he breaks it for about 4 or 5 yards. David Graham making the stop, the left tackle out of Morehouse. David Graham, 6'6" and 255. There's the time left, just under 4 minutes, as the Stars, with this 19-point explosion in the second half. They like to come. Who was it? Silky Sullivan was that racehorse in California. Used to like to come from behind. We're going to have to call these the Silky Stars. They weren't behind, but they might as well have been the way they were playing in that first half. Quick toss, Harvin. Bart Oates leads the interference, and Allen turns it into another 4-yard gain. Ernest Adams and Ron Crosby make the stop. On the screen to Alan Harvin, it will be about a yard short.
Some people might say when you're up by 15 with under 3.5 to go, to throw the ball is rubbing it in. But that's ball control passing. Sure bet on the reception. You stay in bounds. It's better than a run in some ways because you can make sure if you get that guy open that he's going to stay in bounds. Now, in our other game today in the United States Football League, somebody had a win for the first time all year, and that somebody was the San Antonio Gunslingers, 14-10 over the still winless Oakland Invaders.
Philadelphia has it. 3rd down, about a yard. And Alan Harvin tries the right side and gets the first down out to the 49-yard line. Tripped up on the play by linebacker Ron Crosby, former New York Jet. But Alan Harvin in there because Kelvin Bryant has a pulled hamstring, and he gets the first down.
All right, let's look at that offensive line one more time. You got number 89, Folsom, 75, Eatman. You also have Comiskey, 69, and that blur you saw going by, the young man from Willingboro, New Jersey, Alan Harvin. On a team that didn't have Kelvin Bryant, he'd be a superstar. As it is, he's still a great running back whenever he gets the chance to carry the ball. Counting down towards the 2-minute warning right here as Chuck Casino walks around. We're under 2:10 as the Stars have this one totally in their grasp at 25-10 over the Pittsburgh Maulers. We're going to lose once again for the 4th time in 5 games. Stars record's going to go to 4-1, so they'll be a half a game ahead of the New Jersey Generals who play together. We'll be back with more football right after this timeout.
We're back for the final 2 minutes of this football game as a lot of the partisan fans have made their way to the parking lot. Stars well in control, 25-10, and Fusina keeps it on the ground with Alan Harvin. And Harvin crosses midfield, gets into Mauler territory to the 48, tripped on the play by Mickey Sutton. And Alan Harvin seeing a lot of action here in this second half as Jim Mora, not even a detection of a smile on Jim's face, but certainly internally he's got to be happy with what's going on here as the Stars have once again come out in the second half and scored this time 3 touchdowns. There's the attendance today. Crowd just over 24,000 at Three Rivers. And for the most part had to put up with some inclement weather in the form of rain. We had some sleet earlier. And here with 1:16 to go, Chuck Fusina decides to call a timeout. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we get back to the action. Ball is at the 48-yard line of the Pittsburgh Maulers. And you can't say enough today, once again, about Fusina, who, as we mentioned earlier, has been a very consistent quarterback for the Stars. We'll be back in Pittsburgh, where the Stars lead 25-10.
Don Tollison along with Harry Donahue thanking you for joining us on the Channel 6 Stars Football Network today. 1:16 to go. Stars up 25-10. Don't forget to stay tuned for action news following immediately at the conclusion of our game. Harry?
2nd and 7 from the 48 of Pittsburgh. Fusina's got a pair of tight ends in there, and he gives the ball to Alan Harvin, trying the right side, and Allen gets down inside the 45, finally tripped up and tackled by David Graham, and finishing off Alan Harvin was linebacker Ernest Adams, middle linebacker in there for Bruce Huther. Now we are just under 1 minute left to go in the football game, as it's been for the Stars another second half performance. Scott Fitzke, 3 touchdown receptions, 145 yards, and Chuck Fusina has been almost perfect through the air, 15 for 20. Not bad for an afternoon in the rain. Here's Harvin again, breaking off a tackle, spinning outside, but he's going to be dragged out by Ernest Adams and Larry Friday. Friday, the free safety. So that very well the last play. No sense in running one off. 18 and counting, as Jim Mora can go back to Philadelphia, still in first place, record 4-1. As the Stars come out to Pittsburgh, they'll see the Maulers again later on in the season. But Jim getting congratulations from Sean Landetta, Mark McCants, and a couple of his assistants, and that's it. It's all over at Three Rivers Stadium, where the Stars this afternoon have defeated the Pittsburgh Maulers 25-10.